Hello, hello. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another live broadcast here at the Great M&M Dance location. My name is Missy, if you don't know who I am. Today we are covering common mistakes in the underarm turn for the American ChaCha. It's been a bit of a crazy week, as we all know. So yesterday I kind of did the whole week in one shebang. So if you missed out on that, it is posted. You can look back at that. We learned how to prep for the underarm turn and lead it and follow it. And we learned how to do it leading our follow, then leading ourselves as the lead, and leading the follow again. Okay, and then I also showed you from the follow perspective, all right, and what you needed to do. So hopefully you have practiced that and you are starting to have some questions or whatnot. So I have had a couple questions, and these are very common. I actually get these from my students all the time. So I made kind of a list here, and we'll go through them. And then, of course, if there's anything that I don't cover, go ahead and comment your question, and we will get to it next time. Okay. So I think the first most popular question is, what do I do with my other arm? Meaning the arm that's not still touching the partner, right? So if we're the lead, we've got our arm up and she's going under the arm. It's like, what do we do with this arm? And if we're following, we're connected here, right? And it's like, what do we do with this arm? Okay. As a general rule, do absolutely nothing. Okay. Now, you have your frame, you go to lead the turn and you drop that frame, that's doing something. So don't mistaken me saying do nothing for dropping your frame and collapsing out of your dance posture. Okay. What I mean by doing nothing is once we release, just hold it. Just hold it there. You can see it out to the side. It's just out to the side. And you just hold it there. Okay. So that's my go-to thing, especially for beginners who are working on keeping that dance posture and frame through movement, which once you get it and being able to hold still is one thing, right? But now we have to learn how to maintain it while we're dancing. So I think from a professional opinion, if that's you and you're just learning your dance frame and your hold, just hold it. Don't do anything with that free arm. Just keep it in place. And then that way, when you do come back around to your partner, either as the follow or as the lead, you're right in position. All you have to do is, connect to the partner in the frame. You don't have to lift your arm up and climb over or duck and go under, because you're down here. You're already all set. So that, I think, is a really good tip. So if you're brand new, don't do anything with your other arm. Just hold it into frame. Okay. If you are, intermediate or even advanced, maybe, and you want to do some arm styling, can definitely do something like that. Talk to your private instructor, ask me. I can maybe make some videos for it. But general rule is just keep the frame. Okay. Ladies, when you're doing your walk around turn, you can bring it in like this a little bit, right? So you're making sure that your elbows aren't way out behind you, ready to elbow somebody, maybe your next dance partner, right? So keep the elbows in front. Okay. So number one tip, just leave your frame up when you are turning, especially if you're a beginner. Okay. Another thing I hear, especially from the follows, is I can't get around fast enough, right? I'm not making around. I feel like I'm being late. If that's you, if you feel like you're being late as a follow, word of caution, you're probably doing it right. I can't tell you how many follows I work with where they feel like, gosh, I feel like I'm, a beat behind or half a step behind or a second behind. Well, you're following, so that's good, right? I don't mean to be like obvious Missy over here, but you are following, so you will feel, if you're doing it correctly, you will feel like you're finishing your action while he's starting the next one. So you will feel a little late. Now, if you are late, that's a whole different thing, right? So if you are late, there's a couple things that you can do that are super simple in the beginning to help with your speed. Okay. The first thing is making sure your steps are small. So we talked a little bit about that in the support video of the walk around turn. But even throughout the basic, we talked about it. You have to keep those steps small. And I know it's I say it all the time, and my students are like, "Oh, you're always telling me that." And students are like, "You think I'd be able to remember?" But it's a hard thing to remember, especially when you start enjoying the dance and you're moving, right? And it's feeling really good. We have to be careful that we put the right feelings in the right parts of our bodies, and making bigger steps isn't necessarily the right idea. Okay, so there's all sorts of techniques to help you feel that music. We don't have to do it with the size of our steps. So keep those steps nice and small. That will help your timing. Okay. The other thing is to spot. So one of the support videos does teach you how to spot your partner. Your head is the heaviest thing on our body. And so if we can snap our head around quicker, like really, then our body will follow. So if you're just kind of gazing around as you're turning, and your head's not really active, start activating your head as part of the dance as well. And when you go to do the turn, immediately look for your partner, and it'll help bring your body around faster too. Okay. So again, to recap, to get around faster, smaller steps, and use your spotting. All right. Um, Now, this is kind of a difficult one to address online, but I wanted to talk about it anyways, just to open up for discussion. And if this is you, you can email me personally. We can talk about your situation personal. But a lot of times, this is and I get this from lead and follows. I feel like I'm being pulled, right? Or I feel like I'm being dragged, right? So, what is it that that's where you have to put your instructor, or whoever you're working with has to put their detective dance cap on, and they have to figure out what it is that's creating that pull, because it could be a lot of different things. And it's kind of a waste of time just to kind of guess, right? Because you could fix it, but it doesn't fix one thing, but it doesn't fix the pull, right? Fix another thing, and it still doesn't fix the pull. So you want to get to what we call is the root of the problem to figure this one out. I would say a majority of the time, especially when it's beginners, we're being pulled because our poise isn't correct, or we are overextending or overleading or over following. Let me explain that a little bit. So to overextend a lead means, if I were to I'm turning sideways here. Okay. So if I'm going to lift my arm and lead, it's a great lead right there. Okay. Now, if I'm a little anxious about it or unsure, or just a beginner and I'm just not confident and I feel like I have to really do it, right? We kind of exaggerate sometimes when we're not as confident, and we'll go, see how my shoulder is coming out of my back? It is no longer connected to my spine and my core, which is really important because remember, she's connected to this. And if this isn't connected to my back, how can she connect to me, right? So, and in our efforts to get things right and really do them big and well, this is what happens. We will overextend. So please be aware of your dance frame and your posture, right? And wherever your shoulders are, and make sure that you're not really overextending your lead for the turn, right? But that you're keeping it, especially your shoulder, your shoulder stays within your own body cavity. It's yours. Okay. Don't give it away to your partner. And the same goes with the follow, right? When I go do my turn, a lot of times we'll get really excited and we'll do that prep, and then boom, we're just pushing into the hand that lifted up. So not only is he lifting up the arm, but we are also lifting up the arm, right? And so now we are overextended out of our own body, okay? And it creates this pull feeling, right? Because I feel a pull from my arm first and then my body, instead of the body going right away with the arm. Kind of see what I'm saying here? So we don't want to overextend when we're dancing, okay? Whether we're leading or we're following, because that will create some pull and bumping going on, okay? Because it's kind of like false advertisement, right? Uh, she's looking at you and your spine's here. And then when you overreach, right, she's not feeling that spine anymore. And she's kind of like, wait, I thought it was there. So it's just miscommunication, essentially. All right. So making sure we're not moving um, the arms too much um, outside of our own frame. Okay. Not overextending. The other thing that might be happening is the lead. If you're a lead, you might be doing what I'm call is like stirring the pot, right? Now, there, don't get me wrong, once you get advanced, there's a little bit of that. But again, it's going to be through your dance motion and through your frame, and it's not going to be this independent cranking action. Okay. And bless the lead's heart. You guys are really just trying to help, right? Help us get around faster. But really, what it's doing is it's working against us trying to go around faster, right? And we use that hand kind of as a reference pivot point. And so if that's moving all around, it's really going against our stability. Okay. So try to keep that hand nice and still as she is doing the walk around turn. Lead and follow communication is key there anyways, whether she knows it or not yet. Whether she knows it now or not, it doesn't matter. That hand, because it's a walk around turn, she's going out, and because that hand doesn't move, that's how she knows to come back to you. If that hand starts moving all around, it's going to start being interpreted as a different type of turn. Okay, so keep that hand nice and still. Lead and follow. Okay, both of you. Let's see what's next on the list. I'm running out of time. I have a phone call appointment here soon too. Finger wars. Ooh, finger wars. So this directly relates to when Mike and I talked yesterday about the flat hand technique. Okay, this is a great way to start teaching that we don't grip. Okay, the flat hand doesn't always have to stay top and bottom. We can go side and all that, but it teaches you how to not get the fingers involved, right? And teaches you how to stay connected through the palms. And even if you did want to get the fingers through, see what I'm doing? I'm keeping them as one piece. They're not individual, right? And I'm not trying to finger war. Yes. So nice flat hands so that our fingers don't get in the way of each other and we don't end up in a finger pretzel. Okay. And then the last thing that I have written down here is for the follows. When you go to do this walk around turn, think about this elbow staying in front of you. Okay. This kind of relates to the like pushing up, right? You want to try to keep this elbow in front of your frame. So it can kind of go, anywhere in here, right? But you want to be careful that it never gets back here or up here, right? It needs to be in front here, in front of like the chest and shoulder area. Okay. And that will help as well. So those are some common things that I see. If you're experiencing anything different or you're just at a loss, please know that it's my passion to help people find themselves and feel good about their dancing. So just reach out and I'll be here for you. But I hope everybody has a great weekend. That wraps it up for this week for our live sessions. We'll be back on next week and we will be doing the crossovers. Okay. So crossovers, I think if you're more familiar with Latin, they might be called New Yorkers, I believe. But it'll be really fun. And we'll have some support videos for styling and all that you can watch as well. So meet me here Monday at 3:00 and we'll go over the elements of the crossover. Okay. And have a great week together. All right. Thanks, guys. I love you all. And I hope you have a great weekend. Be thinking about you. See you next time.